Imagine a secret kept for nearly 50 years. A life violently taken, a body discarded, and an identity vanished into thin air. For almost 5 decades, the frigid waters of Ontario's Nation River held one of Canada's most unique and perplexing mysteries. A woman found on a cold spring day in 1975 with no name, no past, and no justice. But then something incredible happened. Science, patience, and a revolutionary new technique finally reached across those lost decades, not only giving this woman her name back, but unmasking the monster who put her there. This isn't just another true crime story. This is a testament to perseverance and a deep dive into the cutting-edge forensic tool that is rewriting the history of cold cases. Investigative genetic genealogy. For years, the phrase cold case often meant case closed, filed away, gathering dust. Not anymore. With the power of genetic genealogy, cases once thought impossible to solve are now being cracked, one family tree at a time. And the Nation River lady? Her story is one of the most compelling examples. Let's go back to May 3rd, 1975. A farmer near the small community of Plantagenet, Ontario, made a horrifying discovery: the body of a woman floating in the Nation River. She was badly decomposed, making identification incredibly difficult. There were signs of violence confirming this was a homicide. Investigators at the time were thorough but limited. They created a composite sketch, circulated her description, around 5 feet 2 inches with unique dental work. They searched missing persons reports across Canada and even into the U.S. They called her the Nation River Lady. Despite their best efforts, leads dried up. Her identity remained blank. Without a name, finding a killer was nearly impossible. The case went cold. Fast forward to the 2000s and 2010s. Forensic science has evolved. DNA extraction became possible from old, degraded samples. The Ontario Provincial Police, OPP, wouldn't give up. They extracted DNA from the Nation River lady's remains. This was huge. They had her genetic blueprint. But here's the catch. Standard forensic DNA databases like CODIS only work if the killer or victim has already had their DNA submitted for another crime. For the Nation River lady, there was no match. Her DNA didn't ring any bells in the system. This is where investigative genetic genealogy steps in. Instead of looking for a direct match in a criminal database, genetic genealogy uses publicly available DNA databases, like those you might use for ancestry research. Think 23andMe or Ancestry DNA. But specifically databases that allow law enforcement access with proper warrants like GED match. Here's the simplified version. Forensic scientists upload the unknown DNA profile to these databases. Instead of a direct match, they look for close family matches, a second cousin, a third cousin. Then a highly specialized genealogist begins building a family tree, working backward from those distant relatives through generations using public records. Birth certificates, marriage licenses, obituaries, census records. They're literally building a family tree from scratch, trying to find a common ancestor that connects the unknown person to their known relatives in the database. It's meticulous, painstaking work. It can take hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours. It's like solving a massive, multi-generational puzzle with only a few corner pieces. And for the Nation River lady, it worked. After countless hours and the dedicated work of the OPP and forensic genealogists from the DNA Doe Project, a nonprofit that works to identify John and Jane Does using investigative genetic genealogy-assisted police in Langford's case, the puzzle pieces started to fit. Brian Waters, a volunteer with DNA Doe, later reflected, "The crux of what we'd like to be able to do is give these individuals and these families a sense of restorative justice. But it's also important to be able to heal." Finally, in July 2023, Ontario Provincial Police announced that the Nation River lady had been identified, Jewell Parchman Langford from Jackson, Tennessee. Langford was reportedly a prominent businesswoman. She was a member of the Jackson, Tennessee business community who had co-owned a spa with her ex-husband.
Jewell Parchman Langford. First and foremost, Jewell was a beloved daughter, sister, aunt, cousin, and friend. When she left the United States for Canada, she did so promising to remain in touch with every one of them. Unfortunately, that was a promise she was unable to keep. Her family and friends knew something was terribly wrong. She loved them dearly and was devoted to all of them, and they knew it. So adored in life that when her ex-husband of many years learned of her disappearance, rallied with her mother, siblings, and friends to search for her. In her professional life, Jewell was a successful business owner of a health spa that she co-owned with her ex-husband. In this respect, she truly was a woman ahead of her time. In fact, so successful, she was the chair and president of the Jackson, Tennessee chapter of the American Businesswomen's Association, and in 1971 was voted Woman of the Year by her colleagues. She was a leader, mentor, and her enthusiasm was inspirational. Employees who worked for her in her health spa became her friends.
Finally, a name. Finally, a life remembered. She traveled to Montreal in April 1975, but never returned home, and her family reported her missing. And with a name came the opportunity to search for who might have known her and who might have wanted to harm her. Langford had been strangled with a flat plastic-covered television cable, according to the DNA Doe Project. Her hands and ankles had also been bound with men's neckties, and her face had been wrapped with a tea towel, according to the organization. Forensic artists' renderings and three-dimensional facial approximation developed in 2017 were not able to help identify Langford or any potential suspects until late 2019, when a new DNA profile of Langford was obtained by the Centre of Forensic Sciences in Toronto that matched samples collected from two individuals listed in a family DNA tree. Investigators believe she traveled to Montreal in April 1975, stayed with a man named Rodney Nichols, and never returned. The same technique that identified Jewell was then used on DNA evidence recovered from the crime scene, DNA belonging to the killer. And just months after identifying Jewell, a suspect was identified, Rodney Nichols. Nichols also had ties to the Montreal area and was known to frequent businesses that Jewell was also known to visit. He was a well-known rugby player among English-speaking fans of the sport in Montreal's West End. Investigators believe Langford and Nichols were known to each other but did not elaborate on their relationship. Nichols, now 81 and living in Florida, has since been criminally charged with Langford's murder at the Ontario Court of Justice. Speaking at a virtual news conference, Deputy Commissioner Marty Kearns said,
"Today we have a significant update to one of the oldest, unsolved, and most unique unidentified remains investigations in OPP history. This unidentified remains investigation that was ultimately linked to a missing person file from out of our province began in 1975, just east of Ottawa. Dedicated members of our local crime unit and the criminal investigation branch have always believed this case was solvable, that we would one day identify the person who became known as the Nation River Lady. As with all our historical investigations involving serious crime, severe injuries, or death, we try to apply innovative investigative techniques thanks to improved forensic and DNA analysis, the work of our forensic artist, our communications team, media relations, and now social media strategies, all of which have evolved over time. Our goals are to provide resolutions to families and communities, and also to bring those responsible for these crimes to justice. Historic homicide investigations and investigations of missing persons where foul play is suspected are never closed. Police will investigate all tips and leads that come forward. Families and loved ones of homicides seek and deserve resolution. These families learn to live with loss and miss the life events most of us are accustomed to experiencing, such as birthdays, graduations, weddings, and parenthood.
The identification of Jewell Parchman Langford and Rodney isn't just a win for the OPP. It's a monumental moment for true crime. It showcases the incredible power of science and human dedication. It proves that no case is truly cold anymore, not with these tools available. For Jewell's family, who spent decades wondering, agonizing, and hoping, there's now an answer. There's a face to the name of their loved one, and a name to the face of her killer. It won't bring Jewell back, but it offers a profound sense of closure and the validation that her life mattered, and her story wouldn't be forgotten. This technology is giving voices back to victims silenced for decades. It's bringing hope to families who thought they'd never know. And it's changing the game for law enforcement around the world. What are your thoughts on investigative genetic genealogy? Do you think it's a game changer for justice? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this deep dive compelling, please hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more true crime stories and analyses.